is Abina Johnson, and this is Focus on Liberia. Hit it! From Cape Mount to Cape Palmer, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, Obomi Hills to Pokonjre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Talk about home affairs, hey, in diaspora, current affairs, hey, reliable information, history, talking about culture, hey, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia. From education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jar.
And I am Anthony Sier. A pleasant welcome to Focus on Liberia. As you heard there, we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Is another edition of our programs here. This one promises to be exciting. The panelists are seated. They are ready. They are well versed with the issues, current issue, by the way. On the menu for tonight, President Joseph Yuma Walker is trying to make some moves. President Walker mandates performance-based service in his administration. Mr. Walker is saying to maintain your job in his government, you must produce. There must be results. And if you cannot bring the goods home, there will be no need to keep you. He wants to run a government that is based on performance and delivering the results. Is Walker the man to utter these words, and can we put faith in these words that he's uttering? He said a lot of things in the past, and he has not been able to hold his boys accountable. Maybe I should say boys and girls accountable to get the job done. But he's talking, and I think I like this one. But whether or not, it will be done to bring the goods home to our people, to make government effective and efficient, transparent, and accountable. He said these are the things he wants to achieve. That is why he's introducing what I believe is a new policy. Also on the menu, the House of Representatives Majority Bloc Defies Supreme Court directed to stop Kofa's removal proceeding. Franti Kofa, the speaker who is in battle now, ran to the Supreme Court, relying on Article 49 and Article 33, and also the rules of the House of Representatives pray at the Supreme Court for the Supreme Court to put a stop to all the proceedings being carried on by the majority bloc that have been trying to remove him, and he was granted that, and it was communicated to the public, and I'm sure the House of Representatives bloc that's trying to remove him got the memo. But I read in some places, and some of the members saying, hey, Supreme Court, what are you talking about? You can't interfere with our business. Yes, we will do whatever we want. And report has it that they met and they are discussing. Are they trying to defy the court? Have they already defied the court? Some people are saying that is the case. The panelists are here and they weigh him. They will use their political lenses here. And another one on the menu that I also like. Ombudsman gives 5 days ultimatum to party official holding government positions. It is by law that if you are a party official and appointed in government, you must resign your position to maintain your job in government as an official of government. According to the Ombudsman, he communicated to about 26 officials of government who have been holding their positions in their parties to resign. Only 4 days, the rest are saying it's not happening. And he's saying you got 5 days to comply, or else we are coming after you with our gavel. Is there a gavel in the first place? Number is here. He's seated. He's focused on liberal political analyst. Good to have you. How you doing, my friend?
It's great to be here, my brother. Good evening.
All right. Also, William Gibson is here, a young man who is always contributing here substantively. It's good to have you, Williams. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm well, glad to be here. Good evening, everybody.
James Colley tried to take it from the technological end. I don't know, but he does it that way anyway. It is about getting the result. James, it's good to have you. How you doing, Mr. Colley?
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me.
All right. And we cannot forget about our sustainable development coach, that is Pastor St. Salif. How you doing, brother? It's good to have you.
I'm doing wonderful, Mr. C, and it's good to be on the show tonight with this cream of erudite minds. I'm looking towards a great show tonight.
Of course, we're going to have a great show. And, the first topic on our menu talking about, result-driven performance, that one will only maintain their job if they are performing. All right, if they are delivering the results, and if the agency, the helling, is effective under their leadership, and that's the only way we can keep that person, because we want to achieve efficiency, accountability, and transparency, a people-centered driven kind of public service to our people. And if we can't produce that, we'll have no use for you. This is your era. You are a sustainable development coach. Get us started yet. But my first question to you is, how good is this policy, looking at it, all things considered? Is it a good idea? Is it a good approach, a policy by the president?
From the look of it, it kind of, if it's coming from somebody who is serious, then definitely it looks like a good step in the right direction to hold people accountable who are not performing, and to get them out of the system. That's what government should be about, because we should be operating at the optimum. The purpose of government is for service delivery. So if the deliverables are not there, then why keep somebody in office? Even Dennis' job will not keep you on this show if you're not performing.
For sure. I'll be gone.
So that's why that's how we bring in the growth and sustainability. If you got people just sitting in offices, they have their term of reference, they know what they're supposed to do, and they're not doing it, definitely they got to go. In sustainable development, we got what we call the KPI, the key performance indicators. So when we look at those key performance indicators, I was looking at key performance indicators for governments. We talk about service deliveries, financial performance, transparency and accountability, public health, business-friendly goals, environment, employee performance. There's so many other things we can look at as, key performance indicators. But my only little problem there is the person is coming from. Because if we are going to apply that standard to him, then he should be the first to go, because the president is not performing. So if you're not performing, how do you hold your subordinate accountable to perform? At the 100 days deliverable, he failed woefully at that. So should he be gone? Since he got there, all the missteps we have seen, so he doesn't have a good performance record as a president. So then how do you now hold the people accountable? You fire your you're supposed to give your how we call it, your assets declaration. It came in late. It did not come in properly. You did not hold you said as one of your 100 days deliverable, you are going to hold public official accountable. They must file their assets. You did not do that. You were doing drug tests. You put yourself there. You never asked any of your public officials to do drug tests. I still go back. Your party chairman, Reverend Luther Tappe, embezzled Miata family from the inaugural fund. All the things behind it, there's no investigation, there's no outcome. And then you are the same person talking about holding people accountable. It sounds more like a...
Mr. Solly, the president does not operate in a vacuum.
Definitely.
There's the executive branch that has so many branches or agencies, to put it right? And so maybe the president is understanding now that if I am on the back of my appointee to be effective, to deliver the results, to give me quarterly reports that will tell me how they're doing, I will become effective. Don't you see that he's understanding the terrain now and making the right move, and so he should be given some credit here?
No, that alone would make me not to give him credit. Just the last phrase that he's understanding the terrain now. This man been in public service for over 40 years. So he cannot take 9-10 months of the government of the country's destiny to learn. All the time he was agitating to be president, he didn't know what he was going to do. So when
apparently he inherited a lot of mess and he's been trying to clean it up. So
yeah, but when you inherit mess,
sometimes you can't see the four corners of the room.
When you inherit mess, the first way you start to put this in order is, hey, inauguration is over. I need investigation for over the $650,000 I was released for the inauguration. What happened to the money? Reverend Luther Tappe, you own up that you cut $5,000 from all the other district money. That's where you start from. Then we know, okay, this president is off to a good start. He had how many trips? Over 9 trips out of the country, taking how many people with him? Listen, man, let's be factual.
Thank you.
It's a good message, but he's not the poster child of that message.
Thank you. J. Victor Namwe, let us put the messenger aside. The message, the policy, the goal here is that those appointed will be effective. They will have to maintain their job only if they are delivering the goods and the results, that they are making the necessary reports, and that whichever agency any of them heads is effective and people-centered, then they can keep their job. That idea, that policy, how do you read it?
I think it sounds good on the books. It sounds good. I agree with Mr. Sirleaf. It's a good attempt. I'm not sure if we look deeper, if we will not find something similar or identical or close to it already on the books. I think the problem we have in Liberia is it's not the absence of policies and guidelines, is executing what is on the books with fidelity. And there are several instances, the asset declaration, it's there. We just didn't follow it, right? There is a prescription for accountability in government. There's several actors in government now who have fallen flat on that scale. I mean, the public work minister is one case in point. The commerce minister, demonstrated time after time that the president needed to take a look from unilaterally, adjusting the price of rice, a very crucial commodity in Liberia, where the president had a reversing, and yet he still kept his job. To the recent, episode, it took the president forever. So yes, the policy is good, but if it will be seriously enforced, I think that is where the question mark is going to be. I think some of the things we're witnessing in government.
Are you suggesting the president lacks the stamina, the fortitude, the tenacity, the wherewithal, and maybe the leadership to ensure that these public officials that he appointed will deliver the results he's talking about and will go further to take action if they fail to do so? Are you suggesting he lacks that, ability
Well,
to?
I'm a little bit heartened by the fact that the president is indicating that the cabinet secretary, Mr. Nathaniel Kwabo, will be directly responsible for this. But basically, my point is there seems to be the absence of a mechanism to hold people accountable for their performance in government. It has happened in previous governments, and it is happening in this government as well. And so, Mr. Kwabo, I know him from a distance. He's a serious-minded guy, but this is a monumental task. Yes, the secretariat. There are other people, hopefully, who are going to help him along the way. But that has been our problem. The prescriptions are on the books; they're there, but usually we do not follow them to the letter. We choose to 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 administer some of these prescriptions, in the informal way.
So
And
Mr. Lambert, now that your observation has been that we've always had these good prescriptions. Our failure has been that we have not been able to implement them, follow them to the letter, so that the goods can be brought home to create the relief that is needed, right? What do you suggest, this Quabo guy you're talking about now should do to achieve the desired goal of this new policy being introduced by the administration?
Yeah, I will hope that Mr. Kwabo, the mechanism that will be developed, they should allow it to function. They should allow it to play out as it will be prescribed. If it is that you must meet certain check marks, as you indicated, benchmarks or so. Several months ago, I was indicating that I had read from John Molu, who had posted something in one chat room about what they do in the Gambia. I think it was every 3 months or so. There's an assessment, evaluation of your own benchmarks, and every time you fail to meet, they don't immediately dismiss you, but they dock your pay by 5%. Every time you fail to meet your benchmarks, your pay gets deducted. Even if we don't want to be as drastic as dismissing people, but there must be consequences for not meeting your targets. That is the point I'm trying to make. So I hope Mr. Kwabo would develop a mechanism that will allow the policy to actually function as it will be prescribed. Other than that, then we're in for just symbol.
Symbol. All right, let me come to you, Mr. Gibson. According to the administration, this initiative is aimed at transforming Liberia's public sector into a result-driven model, prioritizing accountability, responsiveness, and citizen-focused governance. Any reason to believe that this is going to be achieved as communicated?
Yeah, as everyone has stated that has gone before me, from Mr. Salif to Mr. Nagbi, I think when it comes to the administration and how they started off very rocky with a lot of scandal, to where one would be very doubtful that this will be executed to the T. When you talk about following and having the farsightedness to see something through, as taking the hat off of a politician, which President Boyka has been all these years, you're supposed to also apply the lens of a public administrator, looking for effective people that will come in and execute whatever your policy is that you have written out through your agenda that you have set for your administration. And they barely have set an agenda. From my understanding, I guess they're launching their new agenda around his birthday. So it's like all these things are being created, but there's no true follow through. So I looking from a concerned citizen's lens, I would say this is not something that I'm hopeful that will follow or have any traction to where it would, yield results. I think a lot of the times when these things are created, it's just small, quick wins to say, oh, the administration is thinking differently. But we saw it when President Sirleaf came into office. All of these things that were created, these entities are there to implement some of these things. But when it comes to folks coming into this space and putting qualified folks at the table That is where every administration has fallen short. You come in, you get embroiled within corruption. You start to go ahead and allow people to just take a slap on the wrist because they're your kin or they're your best friend or whatever it might be, and you're not following the rule of law. So I'm not too hopeful that this will be something that will be followed to the T, because we've seen corruption scandals here and there in the couple months of this administration, and it's almost at a year. I don't think anything is going to be drastic to where it'll be able to change perception at this point.
Thank you. Mr. Colley, you know about KPI. You are in that terrain that is about results and nothing else. And if you can't get the result, then we have no use for you, because this is a result-driven arena. The policy is clear here. According to the government, through the PMCS, we are building a foundation for a government that is responsive to the needs of its people and operates with a clear vision for Liberia's progress and prosperity. Talk to me. How can this progress and prosperity be achieved by focusing on the Liberian people and operating in a result-driven arena, when this is something we can argue have not been seen, something that has not been seen in our arena, I mean, in the Liberian government for a very long time now? I know. Take a deep breath again.
Yeah. First of all, what's the model? You know, I would speak through the technical lens. What's the model? I mean, policy in itself does not work. I think Mr. Namwe came close to talking about mechanism, but it works within a framework. So if you don't have a framework, in that framework, we have mechanism, we have network, we have things that we identify that we want to mitigate, things that we perceive as threat, weaknesses, and all of that. So you have to have a model, either provide some infographics or something that says, this is our model. And people who know more about policy and guidelines will critique. There are people who have done that. They have qualification. I'm not maybe at that level to speak on a higher level, but we're talking about government officials. This is high level stuff. And to just come and say we're going to do this, that's a lot of the problems have gone wrong in Liberia, because it's verbal. It's just, we just come and use verbiage. For example, if we have a framework for construction development, and then I say I'm building an institution for the blind and entertainment center and library and all of that. In that framework, the education ministry should be alerted as to what kind of school going to be in that area, because since development as such is going there, the caliber of people that will be moving there, the Ministry of, I don't know what you call it, the one that is responsible for roads, I don't know if it's the same Public Works.
Public Works, yeah.
Should be alerted, whether it should carry a road there, the Commerce Ministry. These are stuff within the framework that will just go boom, boom, everybody just see it and start preparing. So once I'm building that institution that we have, that will meet the needs of the blind and our kids and all of that, you already laying the road to see whether it's kid friendly, it's this friendly, security is in place. You know, schools that will be built, the government has already earmarked, because there will be people that will move in this area. There will be development. So all of those things are interconnected when it comes to system. You can't just get up and say policy. What kind of policy? What's the model? But if you say this, it's going to be like you're talking down stuff. It's good to come and say we're going to do this. No, find experts that can create a model. Somebody can look and say, hey, there's something wrong with this part. It may not work. Like, for example, I was watching the other day, a guy is building something in Peaceville, which is very, very nice. And they were going through it. He said the project is about $1 million. This is individual effort. But you see, Ron is dilapidated, no road. And I was like, does Public Works even know he's building this? To start the road network, at least 1 mile road to make the place accessible? What's the point of going to build something when nobody can go there? You see, now when it comes to qualification, that's not how you find qualified people. We all have worked in high level area, all of you here. The first thing when you go there, you have your job description. So it's not like when you don't perform, they take $5 days. You have a job, you have 90 days to perform. So if you don't even understand the lingo, you don't even understand what to do, you are out of there. They give you the pink slip. Now that there's no compromise. There's somebody always better. Whatever you know, somebody there knows little better than you. So why occupy the space? For example, the agriculture minister. Nobody knows now what he's doing. We don't know whether there's going to be a government warehouse that will push the rice. You say you're going to give people, I don't know, $6,000. How sure are you? There's no simulation. Simulate the process first. Get a government farm. Use agronomy or something and produce 1 hectare of rice. And then say, I use 1 acre of land and it produced 5 hectares of rice from this simulation. Now, you farmer too, we have trained people either from LU or so to work with you. If you have 2 acres, our team will come and work with you because you want to make sure they succeed. But you're going to take $6,000, you get government money.
Mr. Colley,
Yes, sir.
the policy is about appointees in the government, first of all, being effective and making sure they lead whatever agency they're heading to focus on the needs of the people, and that the services they are there to provide for the people are delivered to the people in an effective manner, and there's transparency in their operation, and that they are also providing leadership to those who are their subordinates to be able to achieve their duties, in a very effective manner. That is the policy the government is talking about here. I know you're trying to give specific example here and there, but the goal here, what we're discussing now is, is the government actually able to succeed with this very good policy? If so, why should we believe them? When that has never been the case in the past, why should we believe the government? How are they even going to do it in the first place to be effective this time?
Well, I will revert it back to you. It's the same question I was asking, and it begs the question: how is it going to be achievable if you don't have it in a framework? Sorry if I had digressed, but the harsh reality is the policy by itself is not implementable if it's not measurable. So what's the framework? Somebody was saying,
do you think it's measurable at this point or not?
I haven't seen it. I don't see the model. I don't know the model. But
they haven't released the model yet. This is just a pronouncement of the policy that this is what we're going to do. More than likely, they're going to come up with details, but looking at the goal of the whole policy, is it achievable in your opinion?
I don't know. I would say maybe it is, if it has what it takes, to work. But I'll leave it as that. It's the only thing I can say, not to be very negative. It's a good. It's something in the right direction, like Mr. Nangwe said. So I'll leave it as that and see if it's.
And it also implies that because the goal of the policy is for efficiency, transparency, and delivering the results. So it implies that if Minister X or Director X agency is not delivering the goods, and the services they're being provided are centered on the Liberian people, is not leading the government to prosperity as they pull it, then I'm suggesting, I mean, it's implied that that person will not be on the job. Do you trust this president to fire somebody if they are not delivering the results, even if they don't, there's no corruption, it's just that they're not delivering the results? Is he able to do so by letting the person go and replacing that person?
I don't think for one reason it's possible, because these are public servants, and we need it. Their occupation needs to be open to the public. But as I see it, it's not. There's nobody over there. They don't have a website. There's nothing anybody sees.
But they said the appointees work at the will and pleasure of the president. This is the president who's communicating to them that, look, I have a policy now. You do my job satisfactorily or you are gone. And you are telling me that though he says that, if one is not doing the work satisfactorily, he will keep the person on the job, because that's what I'm hearing from you.
I don't think it's going to work, because the president can argue that.
And what makes you to think so that it would not work? Do you have any instances, example, or there's any history with the president not acting when he should?
I can step in there and help my brother.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, let me help Mr. Colley. So on September 19, the Daily Observer put out this story from, I think this independent group, Namote or Namot. The executive director is Edwin Jawulo, right? So September 19, they got this report that they filed. Daily Observer. Okay, no, Daily Observer put out this report on Tuesday, October 29. So it's on their side now, according to their press time. It's going for tomorrow, October 29, but this report was put out by Namote on the 17th. And this is the performance of JMB administration, okay? Let me just read this portion for you. And then I went to the Namote website itself, and they actually have put out this report on the 18th of September, on the 18th of September. And so both of them line up. And this is just one paragraph. It says, speaking at a news conference in Monrovia, Namote's executive director, Edwin Jawulo, said, out of 119 premises tracked, only 3% have been fully completed. 70%, which is only 3, which make up 3%, have been completed. 70, which is 59%, still ongoing. While 17, which is 14%, have not yet started. And 29, which make up 24%, remain not ready at all due to insufficient data or delays in action. Now, if it's the first 8 months, I would just call that the first year. And he has 6 years, and you got only 3%. That is your performance record. How do you come back and you want to hold your subordinate to account when you the president, the buck stops with you? You're not even performing. Now, like I said before, it's a good step in the right direction if they will have the political will.
But Mr. Salih, what did the government say? Did the president agree with NIBO's assessment that they actually failed completely, as the report suggests? Did they agree? Because the president might be in agreement that, yeah, these officials have failed, and so I will replace them. Do you
Mr. Sonny, let me ask you another question. Did he fire Mr. Model?
Model? No, Mr. Model resigned.
Yeah, but why he didn't fire him?
Well, that's the question that maybe the president needs to answer. So let's get back to Mr. Salivia, because I know that the government, through the Ministry of Information, rejected NIBO assessment of the government performance. So it's obvious, except where the president disagree, or the Ministry of Information, and the president on the same page. But that's the spoke. I mean, the Ministry of Information, I believe, speaks for the Liberian government. So they disagree with NIBO assessment. So I think that is assessment of the president. Maybe that's why he didn't add. Don't you think so?
Oh no, definitely they have the right to reject the assessment of NIBO, but rejection of an assessment does not make it does not nullify, does not make it false. They could reject it because it's embarrassing to them. How do you accept such a performance? Only 3%. So definitely you'll push back on it, including you. If you were to do an independent assessment and you said this, it's embarrassing. They will reject it. So it doesn't mean the assessment is not true. It's because the government have woefully underperformed. So it's embarrassing. Who's going to
So,
assess
Mr.
it?
Sully, what is your point here? Is your point that we have a government that will not accept assessment of failures that is an embarrassment to them for the president to act on? Is that what you're suggesting?
Give me an example of any government around the world that has accepted their failure. No government does that. You know, it's not going. They're not going to accept it. They failing. You're telling them. They tell you. Even in America now, with the election going, they all kind of polls flying around. You tell them, "Oh, this is not a poll based on which camp they are." They say, "Oh, no. You don't know what you're looking at." So that is government's attitude, and that's why government always underperform, because if government were humble enough to say, "Okay, this kind of assessment is revealing. We got to double up our effort to do." Governments around the world will always perform more, but they always reject independent voices because they're not willing to turn the corner. They're not willing to put in the work to create a change. Like I said, it's a good step in the right direction. My concern is who is coming from. Grisby, his minister of state that is there, should be fired. Grisby should not be there. Young people came up and they made recommendations of people. I think that was last month. I'm forgetting the organization. They made recommendations of people that Bwaka should fire because of their underperformance. Did he do anything about that? He did not. So I don't trust him to say, "I'm going to do X, Y, Z." Just the latest one. Finally, the latest one. Look at who is tracking this data for this performance? Who's going to do this analysis and evaluation? Is it the same government that will evaluate themselves? So that is a problem. Look at the University of Liberia, an ailing and failing institution, and he's launching a doctorate program. Who's going to be the professor? You don't even have the budget to run it. So which professor you going to bring to teach the doctoral program? So listen, the government that is pronouncing these things, they don't have the track record right now for seriousness. So
Mr. Nabwe, I'm coming to you. I think Sally has a serious point here. I don't know of any government that will be honest enough that, look, this is an independent assessment. I may not agree with all of it, but I think they got this part right. So I will use it as a mirror, to make the necessary adjustments so that I can be able to deliver. Don't you think that it would be a fundamental point, or like a fulcrum for the government to succeed, accepting that, hey, we are doing poorly here? So talk to me.
Yeah, but it is. Look, the government is admitting without admitting, right? And how do we know? You know how people say action speaks louder than words, right?
Okay.
I think this latest move is an attempt to address some of the failures that Mr. Sullivan is speaking about. So they're not going to say, they're not going to call a press conference and say, you know what, Namote was right. We have failed on 97% of our promises, but they will do things that would telegraph to us that, we think they understand that, they're failing. And so I think the president's attempt is an attempt to address that. But the problem that I have with this president is, I don't know if and I think he understands that. You as the manager, your effectiveness, your efficiency, you represent the sum total of your constituent parts. If one part is not functioning well, it affects your efficiency. And we shouldn't be dismissal adverse. Reshuffle. If you feel Peter is not the right fit and you don't want to you can reshuffle, you can swap people, you can move people around, or you can bring in new people. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. This is the only thing I don't understand. And I'm not advocating for taking bread out of people's mouths. Look, people are very creative. They will find ways, but if you bring someone in government, you're giving them your confidence. If they can't justify the confidence by meeting those benchmarks, then the answer is not to go ahead and create additional benchmarks. They're not even meeting, the first ones. So it's like you go in a room and the bed is you got sand on the bed, and then you put another sheet over the sand, yeah. So that is where I'm struggling with this government, with this presidency. There are a lot of bad actors in this government. I mean, if I start, I will count all of them on my fingers, from the telecoms to the public waste, finally the commerce. Exactly, they're all over the place. The problem is not that we don't have a mechanism to identify bad actors or to hold people accountable. It is there. We're just refusing to do it. So coming out to create, yet another bureaucracy, to identify inefficiency and make it people friendly or whatever that is, to me.
And Mr. Manuel, you've been right a little bit. Is this kind of policy requiring people that you can only maintain your job if you give us the goods or if you perform? And this is a performance-based and results-driven kind of government we want to run. Is it new? Has it been done, introduced, talked about before, required before, and it failed? Or this is the first time?
My little stint in government, I worked for the National Readjustment Commission, and I tell you, there was no time. Besides, yeah, there were times when we were asked to submit, what do we call it? There was a name for it, action plan, or whatever that was. But there is a mechanism, my dear brother. That's what I think that is what the Director General of the Cabinet, I think they call him the Cabinet Secretary. And that's his function, to make sure that the line agencies and ministries of government are performing. And so when you submit your plan of action every year, there's certain things you declare to the executive, to the presidency, that these are the things I want to do, and therefore I'm submitting this budget request so that you can fund these things. But the money is being submitted without anybody following through on those commitments that we are declaring in our plan of action. But it is there. Every agency and government is required to submit that plan of action. Now, is this new plan, the PMCS or whatever we're calling it? I don't, is it going to bring anything new to the process? I hope so. But I dare say this is really, I don't think it is going to matter much if the executioner, if the people who are going to supervise, who are going to execute it.
Thank you.
To the letter, and I said to the T.
Yeah. And Gesem, you're going to get the final words on this. I like this topic because, look, the thing is, we don't demand results from our public officials. We treat them as though they are gods. They don't do any wrong. Even if they do wrong, it is within their right to do wrong. That's how we see it. Look at what's happening in the House of Representatives. The people dividing money right in our faces, and our people say that they do absolutely nothing. They feel that the people that are entitled to do wrong, to corrupt, and just take bribes, and it's okay. That's what I see. So this is interesting to me, Gibson. I want you to give me your best shot in terms of analyzing this new policy now, contrasting it with what happening at the LACC, Assets Declaration to be specific. This president was clear by saying, look, my official, you need to declare your asset. As we speak, there are some government officials who have not declared their asset. And if you look at the law, talking about the Code of Conduct law, there are, measures in place when one fails to declare asset. The president can suspend that person. The president can withhold salary. The president can stop the person from traveling. There are so many things the president can do. He has not done any of these things as we speak. Is there any reason to believe that the new policy requiring people to perform or else they'll be off the job, something that he will go through with?
I mean, you said it correct when you listed the various instances of where he didn't live up to his words in terms of follow through. I don't believe that his officials in government, whether they're close to him or not, I don't believe anyone is going to abide by what has been set, because that's just the precedence that's been put into play. Like you said, when it comes to declaring assets, a large majority of his administration of his cabinet did not declare the assets. So it speaks volumes to show that people are making decisions for themselves. They're not following any head to say this is what the head is a directive from the top, so we need to follow it. They don't care to follow through on some of those things. So everybody is taking action into their own hands on what they will abide by and what they will go against. So I don't see everybody falling in line to implement any of these processes that he's now outlined. But before I close, I want to say that in an effort to promote further transparency, if this is something that they're very serious about, I would say the secretariat that is now overseeing this whole process to have the public informed further. Maybe it's a need for them to outroll and outline to the entire public, whether it's going on radio stations, to outline what it is this will look like. How will it be applied to various agencies and ministries as attached to this administration in order to show a sense of seriousness, right, in promoting transparency and connectivity from government to the people, bringing it to the doorstep. So I think that is something that needs to also be taken into consideration if they want to be taken seriously about implementing some of these things.
I'm going to agree with Mr. Gibson more. Yeah. Tell us at the end of if it is going to be quarterly, tell us at the end of every quarter what the results are. And then what are you going to do about it? I absolutely agree with you.
And Mr. Gibson, and the saying is right when people say, well, the buck stopped with the president. But the people that the president appointed, many of them opted for these jobs. The president go looking for them. They went to the president and sought for these jobs with the belief that they want to serve their country and do good, right? So the president is playing his part here. One can argue. The man appointed you. The man wrote out a policy. The man said, hey, this is what you need to do. The individuals are not doing it. We can't blame the president alone here. Is that a fair assessment?
No, sorry, Mr. Gibson. Go ahead.
No, I think at the end of the day, the head will always take the blame, regardless of whoever might have not implemented it. The head will always take the blame, but also the people that you put at the head of those various agencies are your eyes and ears. And also Sylvester Grisby, right? He's supposed to be checking in to make sure these individuals are being held accountable. They're implementing and making sure that things are moving the way they should. So everybody is able to take equal blame, but at the end of the day, the president is the head. So if he is serious about making something happen, he will make sure that he's holding people accountable. If somebody is not doing it, you have a meeting with them and you don't give them the option to resign. You fire them. You show true seriousness in what you are outlining for your administration by not allowing people to make a decision or if they want to just take a resignation letter to your office and say we resign. But no, in reality, you were fired. So fire the people who are not falling in line, but he will always take blame. You can't shift blame when you're the leader.
Mr. Anson, a quick question.
Yes.
Just back to Mr. Moda, was he audited before he resigned? Or because the risk that the government would take when people just resign and leave and you're accusing them, you don't audit them?
No audit was done to this day. No audit. The man is gone. The thing, the problem is solved, and that's it.
But Anthony, I take a different view on this. Look,
please,
and I fully understand what Mr. Gibson is saying. I know where Mr. Cully is going. But listen, I know that the president bears some culpability here. But look, the leader is as efficient and successful as we make him or we allow him to be. If I come to you and say, Mr. C, I am a chemist by training, and you tell me, look, Mr. Namwe, I have something here that is not exactly designed for a chemist, but you could do a little bit of general science thing or something along the line, or physics or something. And I try it, and I realize, what, this is not my fit. It's not my cup of tea. I think I should be honest, and come back to you and say, what? I thought I could do it. Our people say, but you know what? I don't make it. Do you understand me? I think there are a lot of people who know in government that they're not the right fit for where they are. I think they should be honest enough to walk away, go to the president, thank him, pack their bag, and leave. We should be able to do that. It shouldn't just be on the president. Yes, I agree. The president,
if they don't do it, I agree with you. People should be
Yes.
honest, but if they
You
don't
should
do
be
it,
honest enough and say, you know what, I thought I could do this, but you know what, it is different than what I imagined. I'm not cut out for it. Thank you very much for the time. Maybe next time around I'll try somewhere else and walk away.
But Mr.
All
Nagwe,
right.
can we put a little clause in there before you walk away? We audit you.
No, I agree with you. I'm talking about this is corruption now, but I'm
No, I
talking
agree
about
with you
not
too. I agree
I'm
with
talking
you.
about not performance, not being able to execute. You know, because look, the institutions are big. Minister of Finance is big. Minister of Commerce is big. Minister of Justice, they're big institutions. You got to bring new ideas. You know, continue to innovate. So if you come in there and you find you're not making it work, you know, I think you should be honest to yourself and say, you know what? No, I don't think this is what I imagined what this
All right.
was. My skill set, you understand me?
Mhm.
It's not really designed for what is required here. So I'll rather you put someone in there who can do better.
But Mr. Nangwe, we shouldn't even get to that point where somebody have to self-evaluate to say, you know what, I thought I could do this, I can't do this. No, it's nonsensical. It doesn't happen in an enlightened society. We should not try to give even an iota of an inch to try to absolve President Bouaka of these failures. In the first place, when you become president, you set up a vetting committee. Everybody you appointed should be properly vetted. It's during that vetting period that you know who fits what position. You got to do the vetting. So Mr. Nangbe comes, Mr. Colley comes, Mr. Gibson comes. There are 3 candidates. I'm looking out for this position, maybe Minister of Finance. We sit down and we vet these people. And from the vetting, we know exactly who has the skill set to do this job. We can't wait to appoint people and then we wait later on the person say, oh, you know, I thought I could do this job, but I can't do it. That means the vetting process was skipped. Who does the performance evaluation? Who does the performance analysis and evaluation? So
I absolutely agree with you. Here's what I'm saying.
yeah.
If, for instance, and I use the Commerce Ministry as an example, if the
Yes.
Commerce Minister makes a policy on the price of rice and he gets immediately reversed by the president, it is time for him to walk out the door.
Yeah.
Why would he sit there and go to work the following day? Obviously, he has lost the confidence of the president, right?
Of course.
His policies are not in line with the president's agenda.
But here's what happened. The reason we're having the problem is these appointments were done based on party lines. Okay, they were done based on party lines and who were in the trenches fighting for the campaign. Listen, there are certain things I don't want to say. I have some expertise. I have friends in our administration, from the party chairman to the disclosure, the former commerce minister is my buddy from high school. The former finance minister, my buddy from high school. Joseph Bouaka Jr. is my boy from high school. I think he was 2 years behind me. These are people that I know I reached out to. I said, listen, I have all my life, I've been apolitical. I said, but our country is at a crossroad and it's time that we don't sit back and watch our country go in the direction it's going. I put myself forward. I'm willing to help. Nobody called on me because I was not wearing a t-shirt and a face cap. So their appointments are based on.
You didn't walk in water.
Yeah, the guy campaign with us. Oh, the man didn't campaign with us. Oh no, even though he's a professional, we prefer somebody who campaign with us. That's where the problem is coming from. And I gave an analogy. I said, even the crew people, and I think Mr. Steele will understand that. When you go on the beach, they got a crew canoe. When the people go in to fish, there are men that push that canoe in the water.
Be careful, you might get in trouble.
There are people that pull it from the water. It's not everybody that gets in the canoe when it gets on the water. You might be the one to push it on the water, but you don't understand the water. You don't understand fishing. You don't know what to do. They're not putting you on the canoe. It's only the people who know how to fish, who understand the fishing and the water, are the people who get in that canoe. But Liberian government, no, they're not looking for the professional because they don't want to be successful. They're looking for partisan. Oh, this person is partisan. Put them there. Whether they fit, they're not fit. They did not go through any qualitative vetting. And so you just put anybody anywhere. That's the
Thank you, gentlemen. That will do it for this topic. I think it has been dealt with sufficiently. I will conclude to say, well, the idea is good, requiring people to maintain their job if they are delivering the goods based on performance. and so that we can have effectiveness and so that the services can be people-centered. I also like the analogy we are closing with. My first profession in life is a fisherman. I'm fishing very well professionally. You're
Which
right.
beach were you on? Poco
You
Beach
know,
or Liberia?
if you have a big canoe, sometimes the 2 person going on the sea alone can push it. So
Yes.
you will need some help.
You need to
All
see
right.
Mr.
And the people will
Gayman.
help you to put it on the sea. I am one of those who will get in the canoe because I know deep sea, even when we see the whale, I know what
Yes.
to do to scare the whale away. But
There
Ah,
you go.
Mr. Gayman, we need you in Florida.
all right, gentlemen, that's it. Let's get to the next issue. This one we're going to be very brief. It's a simple topic, and yeah, it is. Ombudsman gives 5 days ultimatum to party officials holding government position. Gentlemen, can you imagine this? So, looking at the code of ethics, law of Liberia, you can be a party official. You are appointed in government, and then you maintain your position as party official. As we speak, Unity Party, that is the head of government, the chairman is refusing to resign his position. We are talking about 9 months. Why will Liberians willfully and knowingly violate their own laws? You being appointed to government, you have a huge responsibility to provide services for our people. Sometimes you have over 3,000 to 4,000 people that you have to supervise. But you say, yeah, I can do that, but I will hold to my party position where my pay is not even coming from. Now, we have the LACC through the office of the Ombudsman saying, look, you get 5 days to leave that, to resign. If you don't resign, we're coming after you. What possibly can this do to these people who have not resigned? They've been in violation for over 9 months now. Get us started, Gibson.
I mean, like we've been talking about with the previous topic, this is just again another test for the administration to see if the powers that be that go behind the scenes to talk to these people and say, "Oh, let this slide," if they will be the ones to come back up again to try to step in to stop accountability from taking place. That will be I think this is a major test for them. One of the many tests that hopefully they will pass this one and they would let the law play out and not try to protect individuals that are quite frankly breaking the law. So I hope to see it play out in a different light.
But they've been in violation for 9 months. Do they need to give them 5 days ultimatum?
In my opinion, I think they should have been dismissed the moment they were, in violation of this, especially when the Ombudsman office was established. At that moment, all these things should have been discussed. Clear directives should have been given, and also to hold those officials accountable. They should have listed their names for the public to also know, to where they will be facing criticism from all angles, to where they will be forced to have resigned their roles. But this is something that, like you said, has been lingering for a while, but nobody has consistently spoken about it to force these individuals to act.
So, Mr. Colley, now we have officials who are aware that they can't be holding government position at the same time holding leadership position in their party, and they've been waiting it out. And here we are. The ombudsman is saying you have 5 days to leave. Is that the best approach to solving this problem when these people have been in violation for 9 months?
I would say yes if it's constitutional. We all know when you occupy an apartment here, you don't pay. They give you, at least North Dakota, they give you 5 days to get out. Otherwise, everything would be evicted. Whether it's snow, rain, or not. But here's the thing, though. I would be as quick on this. Our police over there, they are as peaceful as Canadian soldiers. And I mean, so if you really going to use that scarecrow or scarecrow, who is going to? I guess maybe that's the reason why. I would think maybe if those people had the willpower, to show up with, I don't want to say it, but I don't know. I think there's a reason why 5 days is sufficient for them to leave. And there should be a public outcry if they are breaking the law. 9 months? I don't see why they should be there. Make me a president, and they would be out of there in a minute. Yeah.
All right. Yes. Let's come to you, Mr. Saleh.
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's very simple. I mean, this just takes us right into the first topic, right? President Bouaga announcing performance, XYZ, and if you don't perform, you're out. This is one of the tests. Ombudsman have given ultimatum of 5 days. Forget about the 9 months, forget about everything. They have 5 days. I want to see what President Bouaga would do at the elapse of the 5 days, if he's going to enforce that. If he doesn't enforce it, then you know this man is not serious. In the first place, the party chairman, I have said it from the get-go, while they were still in the formulation of the government, he put street boys together that they should go to the president's office house and protest. And he was on tip saying, after we go in the poo-poo water, we do all XYZ. Now they're not giving. And I was like, how can the party chairman be the one advocating for a job? You run the party. You run the show. You should not be seeking an office. You run the show. But you want to hold this office and hold this other office like you want to be the octopus of the administration. And the president did not see any problem with that. 9 months gone in, and now you have 5 days ultimatum. I'm going to wait. 5 days is from now till 11. Just put it to Friday and see what President Bouaga's reaction will be. Those people who will not leave those, who will not vacate those offices, I want to see what his reaction will be. And then that will tell me if ministers, public officials are not performing, if he will even have the will to get them out of office.
So according to Councillor Kanga, who is the ombudsman, they have communicated officially to these officials of government concerned. And after they communicated with them, 4% comply. They are saying if you comply, you should show evidence that you have complied, meaning they want to see like your letter of resignation sent to your party, receive, and there is a notation that it has been received and you have legally vacated or that office. Then they will now be sure that you are in compliance with the law. They communicated with them what to do. And I read this. Councillor Kanga noted that despite the public demonstration of the individuals mentioned, all other government officials who were written to have remained defiant refused to adhere to the directive. So it's not that these people are not aware. They wrote them, they told them that this is what you need to do. And yet they remain adamant, and now he's giving them 5 days. I mean, Collie, this is your cup of tea. It's not that you cited the example of North Dakota. You have not paid, they will serve you a notice, and you have 5 days to vacate. These people were written. They know what to do, and they have not done it, and now they're giving them 5-day ultimatum. Is it in line with the same due process you are talking about there?
Yeah, just authorize the police. But again, the police will go with 6. So, that's my point. If they show up there the right way, I don't see why you'll be sitting there in your office. I don't see it, really. 5, why does it have to even go to the ombudsman or the legal higher office? I mean, what right do they have to be there for 9 months? So, again, like my brother Sherry was saying, he may not be able to fire them because it just shows that you're negotiating with them. Send the police. Send the popo there. And when they show up, then the government mean business. But you don't send them with stakes. I don't think they were properly even addressed in the budget. You know, that's why I say they are as peaceful as Canadian soldiers. So they just, I don't know. But Anthony, I can't answer that. I think they should have been gone.
Yeah, that's another example of our country. And, he added, and he was speaking at the Ministry of Information regular press briefing. He added that 26 appointed officials of the government of Liberia were rating and given the option to resign their political party positions or their government positions in obedience to Section 5.1 of the Code of Conduct. So they wrote them that, you have to do this. You have to obey the Code of Conduct, Section 5.1. You cannot be holding your party position. You want to maintain your government position. If you do so, then we'll have to let you go. And that was many months ago when they were informed. Maybe a few months ago they were informed. And
so where's the law and order?
Well, I think that's the law and order we're seeing here. He wrote them and informed them that you are in disobedience or you are in violation. So do the right thing, resign, send all evidence that you have resigned and leave. And according to him, they did that. Of the 26 officials of government who have been holding their party position, only 4 of them comply and show evidence that they actually resign. But the rest of the people say, no, it's not happening, man. What the hell are you going to do to us? And now he comes by and says, okay, now you have 5 days saying you have disobeying us, even though we notify you, you stay in violation, but you have 5 days. And also after the 5 days, maybe that's the time you will have the teeth to bite. Is the ombudsman doing his job here as ombudsman? I think that's what he's doing. He's giving them due process, isn't it?
I don't think J. Victor Nambo has weighed in on this. I want to hear his.
Yeah, J. Victor, go ahead.
Yeah, the message I was not in the kingdom on the beach, so he's leaving me out.
Yeah, but man,
I'm your advocate.
Yeah, but thank you. And look, it goes right back to what we've been saying, especially what Mr. Sully just said, right? Mm-hmm. Why did it even have to come to this? Look, I can understand if these people were in government and then they sought the party positions, that's a little bit, understandable. But they were already in this party position before they got appointed by a presidential appointment. Why? Why were they knowingly appointed into government, knowing very well the code of conduct would not, So, ombudsman giving them 5 days. The ombudsman himself, I think he was commissioned in August. We're in October. So yeah, I mean, he probably had to take time to settle in and all of that, but I don't understand it, and if you ask me, I think it's all fiamomo, like our kids said. All of these are, these are all tactics. I think Mr. Selly said, the chairman Luther Tappe, he marched on the president's house. I think it was Mr. Gibson or Mr. Selly who said that, the president caved into pressure. I mean, it took him a while to appoint Mr. Tappe, but Mr. Tuet was appointed immediately to LPRC, and yet he is a party official, and the executive mansion was aware of this, So ombudsman, I will believe it when the 5 days are up, and they actually leave government, or if they don't, I like to see what will be done. And that's where I'll leave it. That these people were already party officials, and yet the executive mansion sent them letters of appointment. Well, what were they telling us? That they want to give the ombudsman, they want to keep the ombudsman office busy. Is that what it was about? I mean, they had to know that this was in violation of the code of conduct.
And it speaks to Mr. Salif's point he made earlier. Was vetting done?
Yeah.
When people interview. Because if you vetted these people, say, but what are you doing right now? Because my job that I've been doing for 13 years, when I went for interview, that's one of the questions they asked me, where are you working now? What do you do?
Yeah.
All right. In any case, these people probably will have said, look, yeah, I'm still the party chairman for party X. Yeah, oh, okay. You know that the job you're seeking for, if you have to be appointed, you must first resign, right? They will get to know that again. No vetting process went on, so maybe that's why we are today.
When
You
does
know,
the ultimatum start?
well, the story came out today, 5 days. So if you do your math, I'm not good with math. I'm a fisherman.
I'll put
I'm
it
not
up
good
to
with math.
Friday.
Yeah, yeah. So
On Monday, if nothing happens and JMB does not take any action, then I know he's not ready for this because
Look, before the ombudsman came up, I think the executive mansion gave these people an ultimatum to leave to choose.
yeah.
That was months ago.
What?
Yes, they gave them.
In the case of Luther Tapper,
Yes,
the partisan protested
yes. So this is
against
not
Ian 12 for them to resign.
exactly. This is not no hush. It's not as hush hush. Passing through through the cracks kind of thing. No, it's public knowledge.
yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying.
let me read to you guys the 4 officials of government who comply to the directive of the ombudsman, right? Here they are. Those, so it reads here, Kanga said in response to the directive issued by the Office of the Ombudsman, 4 individuals, including Mr. Dixon Tamba, Deputy Commissioner General, Liberia Immigration Services, or Kunaka Jaliba, Deputy Commissioner General, Liberia Immigration Services, Leon Tallery, Assistant Minister, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and Rachel Huff, Deputy Director, Liberia Refugee Repatriation and Resettlement Commission, resigned their respective political party positions and submitted evidence to the office. Luther Tapeni is not here. What's his name? Amos Twenty is not here. This is a unity party government. This is a unity party government directive. And Tape is saying, to hell with you, Mr. Ombudsman. And Twe is saying, to hell with you, Mr. Ombudsman. I mean, where do we go? The key thing here, gentlemen, is if we don't respect our laws, we first of all are not respecting ourselves.
But I don't want you to generalize it, Mr.
Expect
Smith.
others to respect us because the chairman of the party, that is the head of government, should be the one to set the example. What can he say to other party officials who have not resigned? What can Twe tell them? What can Tape tell them?
And that leaves room for inquiry, investigation, investigate them for not resigning. Why are they holding on to? I will investigate them.
And if I were the president, these guys would be fired. I will fire them immediately.
They'll be fired with investigation.
I'll fire them immediately.
That's what I'm saying. We cannot absolve the president of any of these wrongdoings. The buck stops with him. He's been in public life for close to 50 years. By this time, he should know what to do. If you are going to appoint people, if they go through vetting process, all these things will come up. You will know your policy. You appoint people based on policy that, oh, Mr. President, this appointment you made, this person is party chairman. He cannot be party chairman at the same time holding this position. All these things will come up. So you cannot play ignorance at this point in his life. These are things. He was vice president for 12 years. That means he was head of the Senate. So it is the Senate that confirmed people. So this man knows these policies. It was under him and Elliott's administration that they came up with this tenure position and everything. He came and still violated everything. So I don't want us to generalize it that, no, it's the president who's supposed to know these things. He's supposed to have a team. And I keep saying, from the day President Weah made that phone call and considered the elections, the first thing they should have done was to put their vetting team in place because you had to make appointments. You needed to know the right people. You needed to know the people with the right skills, credentials, the people with proven character. No, he brought back all the criminals from Elliott administration, police director who was dismissed. He brings him back. If there was a proper vetting, there's no way you would put him. And he saw the embarrassment it brought to him when one group from DEA and the other group, they fighting over corrupt money and doing all these things wouldn't have happened if they did their proper vetting. So the president is inexcusable for any of the things happening, and that's why I'm a little surprised him coming with the stringent rule. If you're not performing, you will go. You're not performing, you will go. Then you got to strengthen the ombudsman's office now to set the tune for this 5 days ultimatum. If these people don't go, they should be prosecuted because they are flouting the laws of Liberia. And when the president puts a weight behind it, then I will trust anything he says. Until that happens, I don't believe anything this president says.
Well, guys, let me ask you this though.
Has he let go those 2 guys who fought at the LDEA? The Fatty
You
guy.
don't know the outcome of the investigation yet.
The investigation was concluded, I understand, is being on the president's desk for about 2 months now.
The president can make decisions. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think since June. But let me ask you guys this though. Wasn't the law mayor, Jefferson Tamakoji, the law mayor and still Secretary General CDC?
Yeah, but that's why we voted them out of office, because of that corruption. Corruption has many faces. So we brought a rescue mission so that they don't repeat those things.
Mr. Anthony.
And gentlemen, this is my question, right? This is my question. How is the whole thing about performance thing and all that different from business as usual? Because if everything is anything, I think the president summed everything, there will be no business as usual. But this is what we see. Business as usual is all over the place, even with the laws. Go ahead, Mr. Foley. Yes.
I think the whole system is tainted in a way. Okay, so if the government
people who are not doing their job, is it the system or the people?
Yeah, so let me chime in a little bit there. If the government doesn't have that as forthcoming, why is it then the parties don't have that as a clause to say that when any of you who are part of this party get appointed to government positions, you automatically forfeit? Why is it not on the other side too? So, why is it?
But we have it in government now, so why can't it obey the law?
Yeah,
because the tune was not set from the onboarding process, Mr. C. From the onboarding process, there should be a procedure from the onboarding process that, listen, you've been appointed, you've gone through Senate, you've been confirmed. Okay, the president did how do you call it? I forgot the term he used where he congratulated them and gave them their certificate to occupy those offices. There should be a procedure, a tune set from the onboarding process. They should be told, in this position, you will go through maybe 5 evaluations, performance evaluation. You will do this. If you're not performing, we'll give you a query. If you get a query, 1, 2 query, you go and you're out. What was done from the onboarding process? If nothing was done, then you did not set no tax and targets for these people, then you cannot blame them for not performing. Again, it comes from the president. As far as I'm concerned, the president doesn't know what he's doing. That's my
and as to the appointment in government, they have to know, right? Usually we say, what, 2 things cannot occupy the same space. You cannot be effective at 2 things at the same time. It is impossible. Yeah. So one of those assignments is going to suffer. Either the party is going to suffer or the government assignment is going to suffer. They cannot be effective in government and effective in the party at the same time. It is impossible.
No, but even that is a conflict of interest.
It is, of course.
That's a conflict of interest. At my job, I still sign a conflict of interest form.
Exactly. The net is what I'm trying to figure out here. The net is still going to be a loss to the party or to the government. Either way, is the unity party, is the government. The net is going to be disadvantageous to the UP and the UP-led government.
Gentlemen, let's introduce our final topic to bring in callers here quickly, if we can. Final topic yet is House of Representative Majority Bloc Defies Supreme Court directive to stop COFA removal proceedings. So when this whole thing started, and lawmakers, 47 of them signing the resolution, receiving 15,000 in advance and 10G when they should have gotten the job done. When they went to the removal process, they didn't get the required 49 votes needed. They didn't even get the 2/3, and they have not had it up to this point. And so they tried many times. They have not succeeded because they don't have the number to do it. Kofa saw an opportunity to say, okay, then I'm going to go to the Supreme Court, because if you are opting to oust me, you must meet the constitutional requirement. And in fact, our rules here are clear. You must be in line with our rules. That is not the case. So Kofa went to the Supreme Court and prayed for a writ of prohibition, and that was granted. And the justice in chambers issued the prohibition, informing the majority bloc that you are to stop, the word they use, all proceedings. All proceedings. Do not do anything until we can have a conference on the 4th of November. But as we know it for a fact, these lawmakers are meeting, they are having conversation, they are doing everything they can to get their 49 members' votes to be able to oust Franti out of power. So this is the Supreme Court that has given a directive, and it's obvious that some people are arguing that these representatives are disobeying the decision, the directive of the Supreme Court, and that is not good for our democracy, especially when it comes to the rule of law. There are others who argue that, look, the court cannot interfere with the business of the first branch of government. The individuals have their right to meet, to discuss, and do whatever they want. So that is the debate, gentlemen. The other part of the debate that makes this thing more interesting is Article 33 of the Liberian Constitution. The article says that, look, when you have a divided house, or let's say when you don't have quorum because all are absent for some reason, the group that does not have quorum can continue to meet and adjourn. And at some point, because they are under the leadership of the speaker, because the Constitution is clear that the speaker shall preside over sections. If the speaker is not there, the deputy speaker. This group, they don't have the speaker, they don't have the deputy speaker. The speaker is there. So the legitimate administrative head to conduct business is the speaker. The speaker is there. He has not been ousted out. He's still a legal speaker. So whatever they are doing out there, it is illegal, because the speaker is not presiding. They don't have the required majority whatsoever. So the Constitution gave that leverage to the minority group to compel them to come to section so that they can argue whatever issues or grievances they have, so that they can be in keeping with the law. That is not the case. So the question is, where do you stand in this on this argument? Are they actually disobeying the Supreme Court's ruling, or they have their right as individual lawmakers to assemble and discuss matters, that they believe is concerning them? Where do you stand? Let's start with you, Gibson. This is constitutional and legal stuff. Too.
Yeah, James Harrington, a political theorist, made the famous quote that everybody likes to recite: a government is of laws and not of men.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard that time and time again in Liberian politics.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing this play out where it's simply put, where it's stating to folks who might not know what the true meaning of the quote is, that government is ran by laws, is made up by laws. Men are not to come and make government a ruckus. They're not meant to come in and take orders and take laws into their own hands to do whatever they want, to justify what and show that they're above the law. The rule of law is supposed to be respected by everyone, regardless of you being a lawmaker, you being a judge, whatever you find yourself title-wise holding within society. You're supposed to abide by the rule of law and what is written within the Constitution. And these individuals who are of the block, where they're against the speaker's overall control of the House, it's stalling the Liberian people's work, and it's also showing that they could care less for the rule of law and what has been written within the Constitution. If you cannot abide by that, then why are you calling yourself a lawmaker if you cannot even abide by what is found within the Constitution? It's showing a complete and blatant disregard for what is held to be truth. And that's what's in the Constitution. If you cannot respect that, I can't give you the same, call you an honorable individual. If you're taking money behind back doors, making secret dealings, you're already violating the laws in so many ways. So it's just another blatant disregard for the rule of law, from the executive to the legislative, even to the judicial. Everybody is ruling the government by men and women, not by the rule of law. Oh,
You
you're
are
muted.
muted. Hassan, you are muted.
Thank you, gentlemen. I was setting the phone line and I forgot to unmute myself. Listen, now when I was speaking to you, you didn't hear me. I was trying to say it is clear here that Kofa has a point. They don't have the number. The law is clear that when they meet, the speaker preside. When the speaker is available, if he's not the deputy speaker or whoever, the speaker or the deputy speaker will designate. And though they have quorum, they are about 37, which is the number required to do business. But the Constitution is also clear that a group not having quorum can compel the others to come in as much as they continue to assemble and join, and the other group don't have the administrative leadership of the House of Representatives. That is within their rule and also within the Constitution. So Kofa has a point here that they are doing whatever they're doing illegally. Do you agree with those who feel that the Supreme Court is stepping out in bounds, be telling the people to not do anything because they use the word to stop all proceedings?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I try to reach out today to my friends who are lawyers in Liberia, voicing the Liberian law.
Mm-hmm.
I was unsuccessful. I know I read on the Supreme Court's intervention in the Edwin Snow case.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Supreme Court went as far as to affirm Mr. Snow as the speaker, if his authority was ever in doubt. And I believe they could have done the same thing in the case of Mr. Kofa, to reaffirm that indeed you are the speaker, but to go as far as to interfere in what the others are doing. I think there might be some legitimacy to the claim of overreach. I'm not sure. But to come back to the issue at hand, I agree with Mr. Gibson that look, I'm not necessarily if a Kofa supporter or not a Kofa supporter. I am just for the process, doing things right. And I reached out to my representative who represents my district, the Honorable Austin B. Taylor. He explained to me what is happening. They do have some legitimate concerns over the way this speaker, has conducted, his office. Legitimate concerns. But again, as Mr. Gibson said, the country has to be of laws, not of men. You have to do it within the confines of the rule of law. And I understand they've been building these signatures as far back as maybe May. They've been struggling with getting that 49 where they could bring the matter on the floor in the House and take a vote. And so they seized the opportunity when the speaker was out of the country and to bring in a deputy speaker and try to preside and in the process maybe influence some people to cross over to them, and it didn't work. To be holed up, at the hotel, and I just don't know if it is the right thing to do. And why are they even holed up in the hotel? Someone was telling me that there are fears that if they let them out of the hotel, some of them could be influenced by the other side, and so the whole idea is to hold them in there so they don't get influenced easily to cross over. It is just really sad, But it is difficult because I don't think the speaker has the numbers.
If that is true, that hotel is making good money.
Of course, I don't know how they're paying for it, but whatever it is, the hotel is making good money. My wife was asking me who owns RLJ. I don't know. I know Robert L. Johnson. I think owned it at first, but I think he has relinquished ownership or whatever it is. But it is very confusing what is happening. And at the end of it, I think the country suffers. I know the budget process is coming up shortly for the executive to submit the budget. I understand President Bwaka is still addressing the speaker as the honorable speaker, meaning he recognizes his authority. So, I don't know how it's gonna play, how it's gonna end, but I think the Supreme Court may have overreached a little bit by trying to place a stay on what these people are doing, as illegitimate as it is saying, but these are separate, equal branches of government. I don't know if the Supreme Court really had that right. Again, I'm not a lawyer to tell them to stop what they're doing and come back to to the House. This is where the leadership of the speaker is being tested here. I said here previously that his first appearance to address this matter, I think his presentation really kind of added more fuel to the fire. The way he conduct, his whole man, his body language, his manner of speech, very combative, very accusatory, and Bernie Bridge, I think he made it a little bit more difficult to win more numbers to his side, because this is really what he should be about, trying to reach that 37 threshold so he will have the quorum that he needs to conduct business. So I'm really confused here. It's difficult for me to decipher, how this is going to play out.
Thank you. And Mr. Colley, so talking about whether or not the Supreme Court, has gone too far, to halt all proceedings of another branch of government. I don't know how you read into it. It seems to be, it said to you that the Supreme Court is not looking at the entire branch of government. This is a group that is just part and parcel of the entire branch of government. So they are saying, the Supreme Court is saying, hey, this group, stop whatever you're doing. They're not stopping the entire first branch of government. Is that how you're reading it? That's one. The other part is, don't you think they have, because the thing is, the reason they have not been able to succeed to remove Kofa is because they have not gotten the 49, right? So they need to be making calls, be reaching out to get the 49 to remove Franti legally. So why should what they are doing that is their right be stopped by the Supreme Court? Where you stand?
So I'm not a lawyer. I'm going to say this.
Yeah, we're asking you for common sense.
There's a revolt, whether in the House or anywhere else. Those lawmakers, there's a revolt, and they have a legitimate concern. They've laid out certain things that could be a constitutional violation against the speaker. So in this case, I think the best solution would be for the Supreme Court to come and maybe find a way, temporary speaker, a mediator that will be there to carry on the affairs of the House or the business of government.
Mr. Colley, the Supreme Court is a court. You can only carry matter to them before they can't see something happening. Even if a judge see you, to be a little extreme, see you killing somebody, they're not going to arrest you. They will pass.
Yeah,
right? Until that matter is brought before that judge will have nothing to say.
But my point here, I agree with Mr. Gibson, because if there's a criminal matter, why is the Supreme Court overlooking that? Why can't you investigate? Why can't you?
Because someone has not carried the matter to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court does not go looking for cases.
Okay, so then I would argue that the Supreme Court is not addressing the scope of the matter that they are intervening in. We can talk about law, but you
No,
have to know.
Franti pray for a rate of prohibition. Franti went there specifically and say, hey, can you stop this group from doing what they're doing? Because what they are doing is illegal, according to Franti's argument in the communication file on his behalf. I think that his lawyer, Simon Serena, Safos. So the Supreme Court look at the merits of the petition that he prayed for and say, well, he's right. Article 21, 49, Article 33, and also their own rules. So yes, your request is granted. Hey, you 43 or 42, stop whatever you're doing.
I got it. But if you, the Supreme Court, would step in that way, so how can the House and the other lawmakers petition? Who would they petition to? Because they hire out the hierarchy, the high office of the land has already stepped in and come over. I don't know, you call it ruling or some legal proceeding.
Yeah, they call it prohibition, meaning stop whatever you're doing. The issue of prohibition. Yeah.
The question to you is, what if the lawmakers wanted to petition? Who can they petition to?
They can petition the Supreme Court. They can respond to the prohibition that have been issued to them. They can disagree with it, but the thing is that the Supreme Court is also calling them to a conference. They say, stop whatever you're doing now and come to a conference on November the 4th. Until that conference time, don't do any other thing. Do you think they should go to the Supreme Court conference where they're being invited? Should they go there, or do you think they will go there or not?
Provided if the crime will be investigated as far as I know.
At this point, it's not about crime. It's about, Kofa is saying, Supreme Court, stop these people, whatever they're doing. What they're doing is unconstitutional. Supreme Court agrees, say, okay, I will stop them. Then Supreme Court stopped them and say, come to a conference on November 4th. Say, no, we're not stopping anything. We'll do what? Do you think they should go to the Supreme Court, or do you think they are disrespecting the Supreme Court's petition that tell them to stop? You think they are disobeying that by saying, no, we'll continue whatever we're doing?
Well, they are all lawyers.
No, they are all not lawyers. They are all not lawyers.
Let me come in for my younger brother. Yeah, let me tap you on the shoulder.
Yeah,
so I think if our 43 lawmakers, if they mean well for the country, I think they will go to the Supreme Court and listen. The Supreme Court is citing them to a conference, like you said. I understand initially the speaker has sought a writ of mandamus, and the mandamus writ was supposed to actually halt what they're doing and compel them to come to the House of Representatives. And I think the Supreme Court, in their wise judgment, say, you know what, let's invite everyone in and let's sit down and have a talk so that we understand what is happening. I think this is the intent of the Supreme Court. Even though the way it is written, it seems as it's reads as though the court is ordering them, but they're actually inviting them to a conference. If I were the 43, that's how I would interpret that. And so if I was in that group, I would urge them to, I will urge my colleagues to go and listen to the Supreme Court and hear what they have to say.
Okay, let me come to you, Mr. Saleh. The reaction or decision of the majority bloc to not adhere to the prohibition filed against them, the issue against them by the Supreme Court. You think they are right to say, no, you've gone too far? Who are you to stop us, another branch of government, from doing what we're supposed to be doing? You are muted.
Let me answer it this way. Good question, and I listen to my co-debaters. Okay. We are going to the plain text. I'm taking us to the plain text. I'm not a lawyer too, but let me take you to the plain text and let me show us how lawyers interpret the Constitution. There are phrases, there are words in the Constitution that need understanding. There is shall and there is may. Anywhere you see shall in the Constitution, it is mandatory, it is binding. Anywhere you see may, it is not mandatory, it is not binding. Now, I will answer this question because the Supreme Court, what they are doing is a complete overreach. There is what we call separation of powers, okay? The legislature does not answer to the Supreme Court in any way. In fact, the Supreme Court does not administer anything for the legislature. It's the legislature that administer anything for the Supreme Court. It's the legislature that can set guidelines and rules for the Supreme Court. It's not the other way around. There's a reason they are the first branch of government. But let me take us to the 1986 Constitution. And very quickly, Article 33. I will read it and I will emphasize the places you should pay attention. Article 33 says, simple majority. When you go to Article 39, Article 30, let us be honest and calm with this thing. Article 39 does not say simple majority. Article 39 says 2/3. So let's get a distinction. Article 33 says simple majority of each house shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business, comma, but a lower number may adjourn from day to day. Why do they adjourn from day to day? Because they go on the floor, then they realize, oh, we don't have a quorum. That's how they got to keep adjourning. Anytime they sit and there's no quorum, they may adjourn from day to day and compel the attendance of absent members, because it's the only way they can do business. They must have quorum. Whenever the House of Representatives and Senate shall meet in joint session, the presiding officer of the House of Representatives shall preside, which is the Speaker. So that's what Article 33 says. That is the plain text. There's no confusion about it. Then we come down to Article 49. We come to Article 49. It says, now you will not see simple majority. It said 2/3. It said the House of Representatives shall, that is mandatory, elect once every 6 years a speaker who shall be presiding officer of that body. Deputy speaker and such other speaker shall ensure the proper functioning of the House. Now watch the last sentence. The speaker, deputy speaker, and other officers so elected may be removed from office for cause by resolution of a 2/3 majority of the members. You do not see any simple majority in Article 49. There's no simple majority. Single majority only appears in Article 33. So let us not confuse this thing. Simple majority means we have 73 members in the House. If I have only one person above you, that's simple majority. But 2/3 means I must have up to 47 to be able to do anything. That is the 2/3. So
49. 49.
Yes, 49. 49. So there is no confusion about the plain text. Now, I hear people talk, okay, oh, they're meeting in this place. The legislature can meet anywhere. They can meet in the market. They can meet in the bar. They can meet in the church. They can meet on the street corner. As long as they have a quorum, they can conduct business anywhere. The Constitution did not talk about anywhere they can meet. The only thing, they must have quorum. If they don't have a quorum, then they have to adjourn. So, Fanatic Kofa and his group,
and don't you think the Constitution in 49, you certain also said that when they meet, who presides? The Speaker or the Deputy Speaker, right?
Yes, the Speaker or the Deputy Speaker and other officers elected. It did not end with Speaker, Deputy Speaker. I talk about other officers that are elected. Once
so
you have
on their side, let's understand that take a piecemeal, who are or is any other elected official on their side now that is presiding now that they have the 2/3 you're talking about?
That is what they have to determine. I'm going to Article 33. It talks about simple majority. And now,
first you talk about they must elect.
No, but Mr. Sully, let me
They don't have
There
Do
is
they
a
have,
reason.
do they have that elected official now on their side who will
No.
preside as required by law?
No, yeah, what
And-
I'm saying, I want to bring
And I have
up
to add, there is a reason why they must elect a speaker and a deputy speaker. They have to have a leadership.
yes.
There is a reason why they constitutionally elected a speaker and a deputy speaker. They can't just meet anywhere and decide, okay, Mr. Sully, you are our head. No, you have a speaker who was elected. Every 6 years you shall do that until you remove him by a 2/3 majority. You can't have anybody else being the
You don't
leader.
have the two-thirds,
We
and the
see the same.
Constitution is
We
clear.
say
It said
we
the
say-
speaker who shall preside.
Yes.
we are all
A
saying the
speaker
same
or
thing.
deputy
But
speaker who shall preside.
yeah, we're
In
conflicting
their
the whole
case, they
thing.
don't have that.
I
They don't
understand
have
we're
that.
conflicting
They
the
don't have
whole
the
thing.
speaker, they don't have the deputy. Sorry,
Yes,
go ahead.
we're conflicting Article 33 and 39. With a 2/3 is for removal, okay?
Yes.
But city is only simple majority. So
No,
right
but
now,
what I'm saying to you is,
Yeah.
Mr. and I know you will continue, but this is the reason why when they gather, they elect a leadership. You can just sit and meet anywhere and say, okay, Mr. Sully, Mr. C, you and I, we are now the majority, and therefore let's conduct business.
Remember,
No.
the thing is, the Constitution is clear. When they meet, they say the speaker shall preside, or the deputy speaker shall preside, or any
Exactly.
other elected official. My
Yes.
question: do
No,
they
no,
have
no.
any other elected official who is presiding right now? Now that they have quorum,
No.
That I hear you. Listen, let's the way the Constitution is written, when it says they should elect a speaker and this person who shall preside, it's under normal circumstances. The House is in order. The speaker presided. This is a conflict. There's a rift right now. So what we go now to is Article 33 that says you can have a quorum where just a simple majority, and the simple majority right now is 43 against 30 something. That is a simple majority. That's all I'm saying. I'm not talking about who presides, who doesn't preside, because I'm hearing people say, oh, they're in hotel, they're in this place. They can meet anywhere, and the Supreme
I
Court.
tell you, Mr. Sully, you make a compelling argument, but I tell you this: the 43, they know that that's why they have not announced a speaker. They have Clarence Garn, other people leading them, but they don't have a speaker, and they know why they haven't done that.
They don't have a speaker
They don't have
because they don't have. This is the complication. They don't have a speaker. I agree. They
Mhm.
don't. But they are in a simple majority when it comes to meeting. They can decide to elect anybody to lead that discussion. They have the simple majority according to Article 33. The person who's in the red is Speaker Funati Kofa. He can never ever have, until this problem is resolved, he can never have a sitting because he does not have the simple majority.
so Mr. Sully,
He does not have the
Mr.
quorum.
Sully, they
Yeah.
are 43, right?
43
So-
against 30.
Exactly. The Constitution says to elect a speaker, what is the required number? Is that simple majority that can elect a speaker? Or
It did
two-thirds?
not say so. You see, let us be silent where the Constitution is silent, and let us speak where the Constitution speaks. Let's go back. Let me reread it again. Let me reread this thing. Article 39 says, the House of Representatives shall elect once every 6 years a speaker who shall be the presiding officer of that body, a deputy speaker, and such other officials as shall be ensure the proper functioning, and other officials. So it talks about the speaker, the deputy speaker, and other officials. So don't ignore that. And when it comes to that elect, it does not put any simple majority. Or
No, but Mr. Sully, in order for you to elect, there has to be a vacancy. And the vacancy must be created by the removal, but through a 2/3 majority.
That's
There
where
no
the
vacancy
crisis
yet.
is. I'm agreeing with you, J. Victor. That's where the
Okay.
crisis is now. I agree with
Exactly.
you. So now we are in crisis time. The crisis time, the House is split. You got a minority black, you got a majority black. Based on Article 33 and Article 49, the only group that can hold meeting is the 43 because they are the simple majority. But to remove this speaker, you got to have 2/3. So they cannot move the speaker, and the speaker too cannot preside because he's not going to have quorum. That is the crisis. I agree with you. That is
And
the
the
crisis.
43, they have no authority to do anything. And I heard
They do.
They don't.
They do.
They don't.
But I just read it to you. It talks about election.
Ultimatum to the court, the clerk, and the
No,
deputy.
J. Victor, it says Article 33 says simple majority can form a quorum. Why can't we understand simple
under
majority
a leadership?
can form a quorum?
Under a leadership.
Then you go back to Article 39. It said they shall elect a speaker, a deputy speaker, and other officers. Don't remove the other officers. So
and that's why I asked you, who are the other officers elected that they
the
have?
House will tell us. You and me don't know who the other officers
the
are.
chaplain and all of that,
Yeah.
you know.
All right.
It's just like if the president is incapacitated, the designated survivor is the vice president. If the vice president is incapacitated, is the speaker of the House. You cannot say, oh, because they talk about the election of president and vice president, so no other person can preside if the president or vice president not there. That's why you got a speaker. If the speaker is not there, you keep going down the line. So if they have a simple majority and the speaker is not in the simple majority and the deputy speaker is not in the simple majority, the other elected officers can preside over it. That's all that I'm saying.
All right.
It's simple.
Anyway, look, ST, I'm hearing you, but I'm saying too, this will happen if we don't have a presiding officer as in the speaker or the deputy.
The Constitution did not say that. The Constitution said we shall elect a speaker to preside, a deputy speaker, and other officers. And
those elected officers may be removed for cause by a 2/3 majority.
And no explanation. They just should do a resolution. They did not talk about bribery, crime, high crimes, misdemeanor.
No, I agree with you, but I'm saying
they can form
the number to remove those.
It should be 2/3. It should be 2/3.
43 is not 2/3.
It's not 2/3, but it's a simple majority. It's not 2/3, but it's a simple majority.
No, but they may be removed by a 2/3 majority, not by simple majority.
No. You're not understanding it. To remove the speaker, you need 2/3, but to have a meeting, to have a forum, to sit, to have a quorum and discuss business, you only need simple majority. So it's two things here.
You'll have a meeting in the absence of the speaker. That's mutiny.
No, they say simple majority. Go back. Let me take you back to Article 33.
Oh, gentlemen, we have to leave it there. You are right.
Mr. Anthony, before you leave it there,
hold on, gentlemen. To conduct business. Hold on, gentlemen. To conduct business, they need simple majority.
That's a simple majority of each house constitute a quorum for transaction of business.
And that starts from
simple 37. Majority.
Yeah, if you have 37 laws, that's a simple majority.
It's a simple majority.
To the Constitution, you can conduct business.
You can conduct business. That's what we're saying. The 2/3 is only for removal.
Yeah, you can conduct business, but the speaker is available. He has not been removed. So they can conduct their business because they have the right to do so. Right now, they are devalid. So the Constitution gives them the right for them to conduct business. But I don't know whether or not they can conduct all other business if they don't have a formal leadership yet as we speak.
That's what I'm saying. You elect the speaker, you elect deputy speaker, you elect other officers, So the other officials have the same right to conduct business in the absence of, okay, for example, hold on. And then I will end, and I'm not being negative. Let's assume the speaker.
Let me ask you that, then you can end with that.
Okay.
If you were President Bogart tonight,
yes,
and you have your budget, who are you going to send it to?
Okay, and I will answer the question this way. President Bogart sent his budget tonight. The speaker and the deputy speaker were traveling in the plane, and the plane crashed. Will the House have a session?
That is different.
They will have session because there are other elected officials.
I mean, you don't have a speaker and deputy speakers. That is completely different.
Exactly.
That is completely different.
It is completely
different. Talking about this in the absence of the speaker and deputy speaker, so you can't answer the question that way. So answer this question. What will you do? Because the administrative head of the House of Representatives lies within the hands and powers of the speaker. The president politically can decide to give. The president can politically decide to give his budget to the majority because that majority can conduct business.
They can conduct business.
Where the speaker cannot conduct business
because the speaker doesn't have quorum.
Mr. Anthony, I have a question.
Yes,
it's so simple.
Mr. Anthony, I hear can't remove. So what if the speaker committed rape? Is there anything in the Constitution that says how he can be removed?
Thank God the speaker did not commit rape.
No, it's
the Constitution. Okay, let me answer your question. If the speaker committed rape, that is a cost, because the Constitution is clear that 49 members can get together and sign a resolution for a cause. So rape can be a cause, they can remove him.
Correct.
A cause can be because the speaker was yelling too much in session, we don't like that, they can remove him. So yeah,
if
rape
we
will
didn't
be a
have
cause for him to
49,
be removed.
if we didn't have 49,
you don't have 49 or two-thirds.
Yes.
Yeah, gentlemen, time is fast spent. Fascinating discussion. Gibson, I give it to you. We have to leave. What's your take on this whole debate here that we are having? I'm enjoying it.
I mean, as it's been stated by Mr. Coley, I'm not a constitutional expert. I would say within this, whatever is within the Constitution that gives, if your presiding officer is there, the deputy, the speaker, and the deputy are both in-house, as outlined in the Constitution, they are the ones who are supposed to preside over those sessions. You can't create a kangaroo system to benefit your group. If you take it and you run to the Supreme Court and they say we don't have any involvement in this matter, find your way back to the Constitution and read out what it states. Using words like may and shall, it's up to, of course, interpretation by those individuals involved. But I think just going back to the Constitution, for those who are constitutional experts, should be involved within that process, identifying what needs to be done to make the right decision. But yeah, that's all I'll leave it at.
Gentlemen, let's get our closing statements. We have to leave. Let's start with you, Mr. Colley, James Colley. Your closing.
Well, thank you so much. I would say the entire argument, taking it from just piggybacking on the last discussion, I would think that, as my brother just finished up, it's a slippery slope. The fact that you would just run to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court just hammed down some kind of iron fist, I don't think it's good for the country. This is in the face of situation, and you can't just overshadow everything and say because the kids did not come to the Supreme. What are you watching over? You are a Supreme Court, and then the Constitution is not perfect. The last time I checked, there are not a lot of amendments in there. Okay, so for somebody to just go find the thing that works for them and then come and say, you know, everything else is saying it doesn't make sense, let him be there. What's about what they're saying? These people are saying something is a report. So I'll just leave it as that. I'm not a lawyer. It's not my cup of tea, as you can see. Let's talk about computers.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. J. Victor?
Let's talk about computers. Garbage in, garbage out.
You go.
So listen, our great show tonight. Thank you guys very much. Every time I come here, I go with something new. I like also the input from young brothers Cully and Gibson, especially my friend St. Salif. He and I will intersect in many different gatherings. He always brings the heat, like I tell him, So, but we started with the president's, performance-based, assessment pronouncement. What should I say? Best of luck to that. Let's see how that will fare. But I really have some very serious doubts as to it. Bringing added any value to what is already in existence. I think we all agree here that its effectiveness will be dependent on the personnel involved and their own determination and commitment to make sure that they execute it as to the letter. We talked about the Ombudsman, which really kind of dovetails into the first discussion again. Why were these government officials even appointed into government when they're already party executives? So it's almost like shooting yourself in the leg, which in itself will be another challenge for the Ombudsman. We'll see how they will unravel that. 5 days are not too long. hopefully maybe next week around this time, if we come back here again, we probably will have the benefit of, hindsight and kind of do our own assessment and take it apart. The House of Representatives, that is a hot mess, like our people always say. What is interesting to me is, why is it the 43 have not indicated to us who is it they're putting forward to replace Kofa? Maybe that will help them, because I indicated to my congressman that, look, as much as you may have grievances against Kofa and all that, I understand. But I think for once he initiated a process that I hope you would challenge his successor to follow through. Auditing the House, I think that's something that's overdue. It should be done. Tightening the budget process, as he was pledging to do, so that the budget doesn't get altered again, and signatures are not recognized. Those are all, good intentions. So if they put forth the leader, I don't know whether maybe because of legal restrictions they don't want to do that, but maybe they need to put someone up who will begin to make pronouncements that might help the cause, as to committing to doing those things that they're accusing him of not doing. I know there were concerns the congressman was expressing to me that, for instance, they're supposed to review concessions, be mounting, for instance. There are a lot of violations, bringing in, their own people from overseas and employing them when they could employ, like, all kinds of stuff that they should be doing. But the thing, because of this speaker's conflict of interest with these institutions, they are not able to do their oversight, which is a legitimate concern. So, but they have to find a way to unjam this, because the country's business has to be taken care of. I think once they knew they didn't have the 49, I'm not sure if assembling at that hotel, they've been there, I think, 2 weeks now or so. I don't know who is footing the bill. That's a lot of money. I understand the cheapest room in that hotel goes for around 150 per day or something like that. So
you guys got 15 each, 10 each waiting. So don't worry, Mr. Nama.
So, but anyway, thank you for the show.
Thank you. Mr. Gibson, you're closing.
Yes, as always, glad to be a part of the discussion and add my voice to my thought process into what I believe should happen. We discussed a lot of great things today regarding, of course, what the president is trying to implement when it comes to putting transparency into play. He has a large goal ahead of him when it comes to changing the perception of what it means to be a public official in government. And hopefully this is a step in the right direction, where they're able to see something from the ideation phase and actually execute it properly by ensuring that the right people who are in these positions are doing what they need to, being that they're on the Liberian taxpayers' dollars. So it's really important that this is followed to the T and people respect the rule of law. The next thing being, of course, what we discussed was what's going on within the House right now, the House of Representatives. The Liberian people did not elect these individuals to play games with their future. Time is of the essence. We've already wasted 9 months of trying to figure out how to find the best footing within the House of Representatives. It's time to get back to the Liberian people's business. They didn't elect you all to sit at hotels and just maneuver as if you have all the time in the world to make mistakes. There's too many mistakes to be made, and it's already been made so early on. Liberians want for you to work and do what they have been put into the House to do, and that is to be effective, to be leaders, not to be followers. So hopefully within the upcoming days, this will be resolved, hopefully by tomorrow. I'm hopeful, but if not, there's definitely something that needs to happen, and somebody needs to get off their high horse and come together to ensure that the Liberian people are valued, and they're the ones who are being thought of and not thinking about how they can get a brown paper envelope. Once again, thank you all for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to the next engagement with sharing my point of view on what I believe needs to happen to move this needle of what we call democracy forward with Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you, Gibson. We appreciate your contribution as always. Mr. Salif?
Thank you, Mr. CS. So let me start from the top to the bottom. President Bouakar's mandating performance-based service in his administration is a good, like I said, good step in the right direction. But I don't think he has the will to implement that. And in everything, as the saying goes, first impression always remains. So President Bouakar has made his first impressions in the first 9 months, and they have never been good impressions. So those are what we will use to judge his administration by. And I will wait and see what happened with the Ombudsman's 5-day ultimatum. If those 5 days elapse and President Bouakar does not throw his weight behind the Ombudsman to get those people out of office, then it means he has failed another test that will have proved that he came to do something real for Liberia. And finally, when it comes to what the legislature is doing, the Supreme Court, the legislature does not answer to the Supreme Court. So, but if they're trying to do things to help break the stalemate, I understand that, but they do not have that role over the Supreme Court. They don't have jurisdiction over the legislature. The legislature has jurisdiction. They have more monitoring on the Supreme Court than the other way around. And as I said on previous show, the most honorable thing, because we've seen it in other countries, even in Liberia, Snow resigned, other Tyler, Alex Tyler, the most honorable thing, instead of keep hurting your country, we can't do business. The most honorable thing is for Speaker Kofa to just step aside and let Liberia go ahead, unless he got things that he has to cover up, because it's like, I must be in this position because if I leave, then a lot of things will be exposed about me. Then you can fight for it. But if you got clean hands, there's no reason why you should insist that you got to be there. But also what they have done, I don't feel bad for Speaker Kofa, because how you got to the speakership is the same people that are moving you. You did not just walk into the speakership, or people just love you and they put you there. It was the same lobbying that got you there. So now they're lobbying to remove you. If you fed the beast to take you to the speakership, you got to keep feeding the beast to sustain you there. The day the beast gets hungry, is going to come after you and will eat you up. And that's exactly what is happening. The beast that he fed to take him to the speakership is now hungry, and they are coming right back after him to eat him up. So let's see how this situation unfolds. But I really pray that they can get their acts together and they can do the business of the people that elected them. Great show. I always love talking to my brothers when I'm here. I learned a lot from all these great men. I can't wait for the next one.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks to our listeners. Those who will watch later, thank you. And make sure that you share the show always. Focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, and we promote all things Liberia. We pride ourselves as being Liberia's best. And so join us that represent what is best for Liberia, and prove to the whole world that we too have substance, and we can deliver nothing but the best. The president is talking about performance-based employment, and quality. That's what we are all about here at Focus on Liberia. Enjoy the song that says we are all Liberians, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye, everybody.
We are Liberians.